Good day. I'm Milton Schoen, and welcome to America Salutes. Today, as our guest, we've got Jeremy Wolfsteller. Welcome,
Thanks,
Jeremy.
Thank you.
And Jeremy is the Department Service Officer for the American Legion. So, first of all, Jeremy, why don't you tell me a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I'm a 5-year Iraq veteran. I joined in 2002, just pre 9/11, and I went on to the United States Army, and I went to serve in Colorado Springs, Fort Carson, and from there I was deployed to OIF 1 during, let's see here, it was early 2003, and really as a private, just out of basic training, right to the war zone, and I spent a little over a year there, and came home, just had a 3-year contract, came home with the wars getting ramped up and starting. I got stop lot, and I was told that I had to go back a year later instead of getting out, and so I did. Went back as an E5 and a new mission, and ended up getting hurt overseas on that second tour. I got shot in combat. Ended up spending a year in Walter Reed, and eventually getting medically retired from the United States Army, and in 2007. And then from there, I came back home to Minnesota, went to college using my vocational rehabilitation benefits from the VA, and learned that I enjoyed assisting veterans, and I did that at the college that I attended for a couple of years.
So being the Department Service Officer of the American Legion, you know what our veterans go through.
Yes, I would say so. Yep, I've been there, lived most of it, and can have that commonality that they have. And I think it really actually helps me having that commonality, them, the veterans that I'm helping, open up, knowing that I can identify with some of the things that maybe they had went through or going through.
Very good. And as a Department Service Officer for the American Legion, what do you do in that role?
Sure. So a lot of general public veterans, they don't really understand the American Legion and the Veteran Service Organizations, but quickly, I'm hired for the American Legion to work a service line, I call it, through the American Legion, and that's Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation. And so for the American Legion, for Minnesota, I cover anything that has to do with veterans' entitlements after they serve the country through federal, state, anything that's offered through nonprofits, grants, and I do that all for the American Legion.
And so you're very well aware of the level of service that veterans receive, let's say at the Minneapolis Hospital, St. Cloud, Fargo, Sioux Falls, and all of the various community-based outpatient clinics.
That's correct, Milt. We stay heavily involved with what's happening at the St. Paul regional office. With the change that's going on there with the delivery of VA benefits, we stay heavily involved. And when I say we, I also have a 5-person committee that I'm a secretary to, and we stay heavily involved with the Veterans Health Administration, the changes there. So yeah, we get that opportunity to not only work with veterans in the trenches that are having a hard time gaining access to their earned entitlements, but we also get to work with high-level leadership to ensure that if we identify gaps in services, that we can work with them so they can possibly make changes.
And that's the American Legion Standing Committee on Rehabilitation?
That is. That's it.
I was a member of that committee
You were.
for 8-9 years and chair of it for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
One of the things that, one of the learnings there is that the American Legion does send the committee to every healthcare facility that serves Minnesota veterans.
Correct.
And the nursing homes also.
That's right.
And there's nothing like having physical presence to make sure that the operations are going well.
Oh, that's exactly correct. And I was thinking that you'd be a perfect person for the committee, but you've already been there.
Well, I learned a lot of things back then.
Thank you for your service to the committee.
Well, I appreciated the opportunity from the American Legion to be able to do that, because I learned a tremendous amount about the service and how veterans in different parts of the state have to go through a different system, and it's important to make sure that each of those facilities are set to serve our veterans. Well, I know that the American Legion has a number of outdoor activities that they emphasize, and I think there's some of them that you would like to share with our audience.
Sure, Milt. There's The Legion's heavily involved since we're in Minnesota, and Minnesotans know that outdoor activities is really one of our, most of us is hunting, fishing, anything outside. It's just so beautiful here in Minnesota when it's not snowing, where the Minnesota American Legion knows that our veterans, when they serve the country, they come home, they have downtime. They like to get out and they would like to do the activities they used to do with their families. So the American Legion sponsors many events, and I just brought today a few that are coming up that are very popular within veterans, and they're all for disabled veterans. And it's all paid for them. It's totally free. And the first one is called Veterans on the Lake in Ely, Minnesota. There's a campground out there, and it's called Veterans on the Lake. And that is coming up May 23rd through the 26th. It's a 3-day event where disabled veterans, up to I think it's around 40 to 50, will basically be chaperoned for 3 days, taken out fishing for 3 days, all the food's paid for, and it's just a great opportunity for them all to get out, share that commonality of service, and just reflect on just, you know, where they've come from, where they're at today, and enjoy some of the activities that they enjoy doing. So that's the first one coming up here, and that's the end of May. That's a wonderful opportunity there in Ely, Minnesota on Fall Lake. The next one's called Trolling for Troops, and that's a partnership with Camp Ripley and the Minnesota National Guard. And Trolling for Troops has grown quite large, and that actually involves a lot of pros in Minnesota, both with the river and walleye fishing pros. We have Al Linder as a special guest every year come and attend this event and take disabled veterans out on their boats. And what we do is we usually have a pro take out one newest era veteran from Iraq and Afghanistan and pair him up with a Korean War veteran, World War II veteran, a Vietnam veteran, and then they'll go out with a pro on a boat. And that's June 2nd through the 3rd. So 2 days of fishing, or actually it's 1 day of fishing either on the river or on the lake, Mille Lacs Lake. Great opportunity. The last one that I'd like to bring to attention that's great as well is a disabled deer hunt, and that's up at Camp Ripley as well. That's a special hunt, and that's a shotgun hunt, and that is for disabled vets as well, and they have these blinds set up for veterans that come in with their wheelchairs in the back of the woods with their kids, and they sit there and they'll have a sponsor there with them, and it's just a wonderful opportunity. So the American Legion helps sponsor to ensure that these veterans have that opportunity.
And even if they're disabled, they get to fully participate in life, and if somebody loved hunting, even though they're in a wheelchair, they still have the opportunity to do this.
That's exactly right. We want to make sure that they still have that opportunity.
Well, speaking of opportunities, we were discussing before we started taping the show the issue of the many veterans who have not gotten honorable discharges, who've gotten administrative separations since the beginning of our war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and that's an issue you've been very much involved in trying to help upgrade many of these veterans' discharges.
Yes, I appreciate you bring that up. Unfortunately, because of all the wars going on and the 15 years of Iraq and Afghanistan, a lot of the service members will come home from multiple deployments with mental health issues that are not being addressed by the Department of Defense, which could lead into minor misconduct, and then from there it's easy for the military to just administer a bad paper to get the service member out. Well, unfortunately, what happens with the service member, the veteran at that point in time, is they don't have access then to their earned entitlements. So in Minnesota, the American Legion has always had a service discharge upgrade program where we provide advocacy to veterans nationwide, and our national office has that. In Minnesota, we did that as well through my office, and we assisted veterans putting together those applications for upgrade requests. We took it up a little bit further about 2 years ago, where we had some attorneys from different law firms approach the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs along with the American Legion, saying, we want to do work for veterans. What are some of the gaps in services that we could assist with? And we knew right then and there that it would be service discharge upgrades. Fast forward 2 years later, we have many different law firms on board with our service discharge upgrade pro bono pilot program, where if we identify specific cases where they're post-traumatic stress disorder related to possible misconduct that led to their bad paper, we want those cases. We'll fight for them to get their benefits back. Military sexual trauma, traumatic brain injuries, TBIs, and also any kind of medical discharges that were improperly administered that led to bad papers.
And one of the things that can happen is that it's easier to use this administrative process than to say, in what should happen if somebody's got a TBI or post-traumatic stress disorder, is the Department of Defense, the military, ought to treat that individual and give them some medical help to deal with the condition rather than kind of, in a sense, go to the punishment route and take away their benefits.
Absolutely correct. I did bring some statistics here, but since 2001, 9/11, approximately 125,000 veterans who served since 9/11 are being excluded from their VA earned entitlements without VA even thoroughly reviewing their whole file. So, and approximately 33,000 of those were deployed to war zones in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's an alarming number, so we want to ensure that if those discharges are leading to bad papers due to their deployments and they're self-medicating, or minor misconduct happens because of their deployments and their mental health, is that there's no way that the military should just discharge and say, see you later. Let's identify the problem, let's get them treatment, and let's administer a medical discharge because this happened in service, we're going to take care of you.
And part of the training and part of the ethos of being in the military is you're tough, you're a warrior, you got to be ready to deploy, and in a sense you're letting your buddies down if you don't deploy. And we've seen that with a lot of people that have had issues, and they get deployed a second and a third time, but they're not going to say there's anything wrong with them. And it doesn't mean that they don't have issues, and oftentimes they do come up.
Correct. Yep, no, that's very true. And you know, it's just something that needs to be changed, and it's being looked at nationally right now. And hopefully, with our program, we're identifying cases, but there's much more than just us can handle. So we're hoping that VA changes their policy to review these files a little bit more thoroughly, and if they're non-punitive discharges, that they allow these veterans to have access to their earned entitlements that are just basic, like health care, service-connected disability, home loans, and burial benefits. I mean, they served the country, you know, they went to war. Let's give them something that they're entitled to.
Right, and especially if somebody's has sustained an injury and
That's
they're
right.
dealing with that.
Yep.
The fact that you're punishing them,
Correct.
because you know, of the experiences that they've had, that does not seem right. And you mentioned, I think, earlier here, because I know you work with the National Veterans Legal Services Project, which is a mouthful.
Yeah, it sure is. NVLSP.
NVLSP, and that the VA under the GI Bill was supposed to review these cases administratively to see whether the person should be you know, eligible for VA benefits, if that their infractions were not so severe that you'd take away benefits. We're in our last minute here, so
Sure.
I wonder if you could say something to that as we finish up here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, Milt. NVLSP is absolutely wonderful, and they give the training to us Department of Service officers through the American Legion twice a year. Without them, we probably wouldn't be where we're at. And recently, they had broke a story along with some of their partners in regards to VA and the original 1944 GI Bill of Rights, where the guidance from Congress under that bill would state that the VA would thoroughly review a veteran's case even if they had bad papers. And what they're supposed to do is, even if they had a bad paper like an OTH, a general under honorable conditions and other than honorable, or a bad conduct, and they were given those papers, and those papers weren't going to lead to a punitive court-martial in a dishonorable discharge, well, then the VA should grant basic eligibility for VA benefits, which is the four we talked to. Unfortunately, fast forwarding to today, they're finding that so many of these hundreds of thousands of veterans have not gained access. and they're non-punitive discharges. They're just administrative discharges. So they're doing great on that front, and we're in full support of them.
Well, Jeremy, sometimes people don't realize that veteran service groups and the American Legion fight for people who don't have good discharges, and you're really working to make sure that people get some equity and that their good service is recognized.
That's right. I mean, it's a small area of veterans services where they're just not being touched, and we at the American Legion, we believe that we take a stance on this, and even if a veteran has a bad paper, that doesn't mean that they don't deserve their entitlements, and we want to look into it further, and that's what we've been doing.
Well, thank you, Jeremy, and we appreciate all the information from the American Legion. And for America Salutes, I'm Milton Schoen, and we will be back in just a moment with our second guest. Welcome back to America Salutes, and our guest for this segment is Lisa Klenk. Welcome, Lisa.
Thanks.
And Lisa is the Sibley County Veteran Service Officer, and she is also the president of the Minnesota Association of County Veteran Service Officers. So first, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Okay. I actually am not from Minnesota. I'm from Texas originally, and I served in the U.S. Army. I had a tour of 3 years, extended, and came back stateside. And I was in during the Cold War, so in Germany. And after that, I went to college, and I ended up getting a job while I was going to grad school with the Transition Assistance Program, which was in the early 90s during the mass exodus and closure of bases. So I worked on that program while I was going to grad school, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with other veterans and helping them seek jobs and get their benefits through the VA. And so then I moved to Alaska, and at that point I ended up going to work in the civilian sector, and have worked there for about 25 years in corporate, and took some time off for about a year and decided it wasn't for me, and the job of County Veteran Service Officer came open in Sibley County, which is, you know, a pretty small county. It's about 15,000 people, but amazing enough, there's about 1,500 veterans who live there. So it was a great opportunity. I'm loving my job. I say it's my retirement job. I've been doing it for 8 years now, and I just have such a joy in what I do. I think what's really been exciting for me this year as the president of the association is that I've been able to have a voice for veterans, not just for Minnesota, but also for my county. Like I said, it's a small county, but we have a voice, and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and Sibley County is a renowned county. It's the home of the former director of the Minneapolis VA regional office, Ron Henke, and yeah. he went to the national office to work on issues, and it's you got a proud tradition there.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting. So this year has been great. I have to say, I've lived quite a few places in my overseas and in states in the United States, and one thing I'm very proud of in Minnesota is what a great organization we have in the Minnesota Association of County Veteran Service Officers. We are, since 1943, this group of individuals have lobbied to ensure that we have a state statute in place to make sure every county has a CVSO. So ensuring that every veteran that walks through any county door will have help with their benefits. And as a County Veteran Service Officer, that means a lot to us because, one, it guarantees a legacy. And for me, that's so important because eventually I'm going to retire. That's actually in 12 years. But I've got that counting down. But the reality is that we have a responsibility to our veterans, and I think Minnesota takes that very seriously by ensuring that their state statute exists and continues to exist. As a CVSO, I do many things. It's a very it's not just filling out forms, and I think there's this perception in some realms that people think, oh, they're just going in there filling out forms. this job encompasses a great deal. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, and I utilize the tools that I've learned not only in my work experience, but as well as my education. But when I started this job, I went to a certification class for a week. I had to take a test at the end of that and pass it. I had to pass it with a certain score to ensure that I could do my job. And that is so important for us because it's a professional certification. It's just like any other certification that people get, social workers, case managers, different things like that. And that education really continues to evolve because now there's, every year I have to get CEUs. I have to get 40-hour CEUs to keep up with the changes. And let me tell you, the VA is constantly changing.
And with this, there are several training conferences that on an annual basis that are held, and could you tell us a little bit? There's a spring conference and a fall conference?
Yes, there is. And one thing that's great is we have a really positive working relationship with the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs here, and they put on the spring conference in conjunction with us, and we work together to ensure that we offer enough CEUs. And then within the fall conference, we actually have another conference that's just put on by our MACVSO organization to ensure that between the two, they're getting enough credits and a variety of options. So really important, that relationship has been going on forever through that Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs. And that training is so important to the success of my job every year. And every day what I do is, impacted by the training that I get. So
so you get the most recent knowledge, so when a veteran, you've been to one of these trainings, a veteran walks into your office, you'll know how you can help them to file this claim for compensation, or if something's changed in the VA healthcare system, how you can ensure that the person gets what they need.
Exactly. And I think it's also twofold. When we have somebody walk in from our, who gets a letter from the VA that none of us have ever seen, and we've seen that happen a time or two, where the VA changes their policies and procedures, and that actually enables us to do some research. And by doing that, then we find out, wait, this is something we missed, it's a training opportunity, and then we can work with our training chair to make sure that that gets trained in the next session. So.
And maybe you could tell a little bit, because you represent a statewide organization, that a lot of people think that it's all, everything you get within the VA system is the same, but we were discussing earlier the fact that we've got a number of different hospitals that serve Minnesota and a number of different community-based outpatient clinics. So to get service for your veterans, you need to know what's available for Sibley County.
Right, and so we're not really centrally, we're southwest Minnesota. So, we have Mankato as a CBOC, we have individuals who use the St. Cloud VA, I use the St. Cloud VA, we have people who use Minneapolis or Shakopee CBOC. So it's...
And the CBOC is a community-based outpatient clinic?
Yes, and sorry, the acronyms just stay with you.
They come. I figure some of our viewers might not get that.
Yes, and I apologize for that. You kind of get back into that mode of acronyms. The great thing, and I really push this so much, and even when we have our conversations with Tom from the military radio and saying, hey, go see your county veteran service officer. That is your lifeline to your veteran benefits. Those individuals are going to help you. They're going to ensure success, and they're going to be there through the process. It's not like, oh, here, fill out these forms. It's, here, let me help you do this. Let's do the research. Let's find out the information we need to know to get through the process.
So the way you help somebody as a county veteran service officer is to interview them and find out about their particular situation.
Exactly.
Before you take any action to get them, to file them for benefits or to secure services for them.
Correct, because ultimately we don't want him or her to walk out that door without having every opportunity and every benefit. And so the more we know about that individual, and the better we are going to be, and the more we interview. And the great thing about Minnesota is that in order to be a CVSO in the state of Minnesota, you must be a veteran. And to me, that's imperative. I think that the camaraderie, the ability to understand and to relate, it's so much easier for people to talk to another veteran than it is to talk to someone who's not. And I think that it's a plus, and I think it's a great thing that the state of Minnesota has done, and to ensure that that continues. And it's also an opportunity for a veteran to have a position and a job, that they can compete with. So I think Minnesota does an amazing job of taking care of their veterans, and from the county all the way to the state. I know we've had some conversations about, and some issues arise within the VA healthcare system and such, but ultimately, and I've been around through the state through other states in regarding dealing with those facilities, and we are top notch. Are we perfect? No, but the reality is not every hospital is perfect either.
Yeah, and I think many of the Minneapolis VA Medical Center has been rated between 3 and 8 out of 160 medical centers nationwide, and we're fortunate for that, and our other facilities have been rated highly, and that really makes a difference. And we're a state that's got high quality health care, and the VA is no exception. In fact, the VA is rated higher than the private sector. As you say,
right.
The VA does have its problems, but it is a system, and certainly it's a lifeline for people, because when you service connect an individual and we help them with their disability, and they can get VA health care, they've got some security if they want to start a business, if they want to do certain things in life. They know they've got that health care, which gives them an opportunity to fully participate in life.
I think you're so correct, and there's so many opportunities for veterans, and many who walk through my office don't really know all of those things. And one thing that I've been really excited about with this as president this year is being present for our organization at the legislature, being at those hospitals. We had a great event, because it's not all serious. It's some fun things. On Valentine's Day, we handed out Valentines at the VA Medical Center in Minneapolis, and that was a great opportunity just to meet with the hospital patients and talk to them. And so there's a lot of fun things about being the president. There's also some challenging things with the legislation, and making sure that we continue to fight for the benefits within our state, within our federal, and making sure that they keep those benefits.
And in this state, if I'm a veteran walking into a county veteran service office, the way it's supposed to work is I don't need to know the benefit structure. That the county veteran service officer is the expert, and all I need to do is present, and the county veteran service officer will ask me about my background and then assist me in obtaining benefits that I may not even be aware of.
Exactly. And I think one of the challenges we have going on right now is we do have some individuals, and like anything, people are looking to make money, and we are working with legislation to make sure that those individuals who are charging veterans are notifying them that there are county veteran service officers who can do that for them free of charge.
And that's the disclosure bill.
Exactly.
It's been introduced at the legislature, and so you've got companies that are actually charging financially someone for work that basically they can get at no charge.
Yeah, exactly. It's a free service. It's what your county is paying for that service to ensure that we are there to help you. And we don't as an organization ever want to see a veteran have to pay for something that they can get for free, with highly skilled and trained individuals who can do the job hands down, if not as well, better than those individuals.
Very good. And you could probably say a couple things about the benefits that I know, we've got our federal benefits, our service-connected compensation and pension and home loan guarantee and all of those benefits, but our state actually has some benefits to assist people, a dental and optical benefit, and some other benefits.
Yeah. Once again, the state of Minnesota does a really great job of taking care of their vets, and we have what they call the State Soldier Assistance Program, and we have a dental, there's an optical. In addition, there's a special needs grant. So, unfortunately, in some trying times, people may lose their job, get behind in their mortgage. Maybe they need a new roof, but they can only pay for half of it. That special needs grant is available to veterans to apply for. There's some criteria.
Do you want to leave our viewers with one last thought, or?
You know, most important thing, go see your county veteran service officer. If you haven't, I don't care if you're a guardsman or reservist, if you were in peacetime, wartime, doesn't matter. If you've never gone to see them, go see them. Pull out that DD-214 that's collecting dust or stuck in your safe. Go get it recorded. Go ask about those benefits, and you've earned them. Take advantage of them. It's so important.
Very good. Well, Lisa, I want to thank you for appearing on America Salutes. And for America Salutes, I'm Milton Schoen, and I want to thank you for watching our program.